Welcome back to Older Train Reviews. And for our second review, we'll be doing a Lionel Camelback, which most of you will recognize. This engine was released in the 2001 catalog, and it was number 28018 if you want to look it up online. It was remade again in the Lion Plus around 2016, and I believe they used the exact same mold because when looking at the pictures and other pictures online of both engines, they look exactly the same. The dimensions in the book show they're the same. So anyway, this is the original that came out in 2001, and I got it because it's a Reading, and I've always loved Camelbacks. The Camelback was unique in that it had a Wooten firebox right here because it burned anthracite coal, which was very hard but burned very clean. The problem was keeping the fire lit. So he came up with a very wide firebox for these engines that would enable them to burn the anthracite coal. And why did they do that? Because the Philadelphia and Reading company that owned the Reading Railroad owned tons of coal areas in central Pennsylvania. Well, gee, now you have free coal, just got to be able to burn it. So these engines would virtually have free energy to run them, which was a big savings to them. The other thing that is unique is they had to put the cab in the center of the engine because they couldn't fit it back here. The problem with that is, as I've read, is it may have looked cool and everybody said, wow, this is a great engine. It's so unique. The crews hated it because the firemen would have to sit all the way back here, and he wasn't on the engine. He was on this area. So he'd have to throw the coal into a moving spot on this engine that was jumping around, which I understand was quite hard. He was out in the elements. He'd get rained on, he'd get snowed on. It was horrible for him. But even worse was for the engineer. As you can see, the side rods are down here. This area, I've read, was sometimes called snappy because if a side rod would break, it would bang around in this area here. Well, the cab's right above it. And I guess a few times it's gone up into the cab and the engineer is trying to get the hell out of the way. The other thing that would happen is, because he's right next to the boiler, it would get extremely hot. In the wintertime, that might not have been so bad for Pennsylvania winters, which I remember quite well. But in the summer times, when it was 90 or so, I've read that they would sometimes sit in the windowsill to kind of get away from the boiler and to get out of the heat. Well, it's said that a couple of times they fell off. I don't know if that's true or not. But I can imagine it happening. You're leaning out there trying to get cool and whack, a tree limb hits you. If you weren't killed, you're going to be pretty banged up. And it wasn't going to do much for the engine and the train behind it. Because now someone's got to figure out how to get up here and slow the engine down. But anyway, about the Lionel version of this. As you can see, it's fairly well detailed, although most of the detailing is molded into the engine. It does smoke, it has squealing brakes, it had TMCC, it did not have speed control. I added Engineer on Board by Train America because I wanted speed control. Smoking, not a good smoker. Although one thing it would do is it would blow smoke rings And I might show you that a little bit later. If I can get it going slow enough, it'll blow a smoke ring out. As you can see, the coupler disconnect works. The other thing I've noticed about this engine is, one of the things I do not like is the side rods. I believe it's the side rods. Something in this area here and on the other side will make a click, 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 click sound when it's running. It's done it since the day I got it. I've lubricated, I've tried messing with it to see if I could get it to stop. I've not been successful. But that's the way it is, and we'll just live with it because it's a Redding Camelback. This does not slide. This is thick, so you don't have a roof vent that works. Has bell, has that. It has all the TMCC sounds. And it takes off rather quickly, so just be aware of that if you get one. I have found these online for as little as about $250 on eBay. Looking around, just to give you guys an idea. There's not many of them out there. So if you want one and you can find one, that's great. You'll probably get a good deal on it, but it's not going to have any Odyssey speed control or anything like that. So if you want something, you'll probably have to add ERR or any of the other aftermarket speed controls. The remake of this, which came out in 2016 for the Lion Plus, has much better sounds. I believe it has a blowing smoke unit instead of a puffing smoke unit. If I had to do it again, and they would have made a Redding version of this, they made a Philadelphia and Redding, but if they would have made a strictly Redding, I might have purchased the Lion Plus. Although the only problem with the Lion Plus is, as I understand it, and have done a little bit of research, you cannot control it from TMCC or Legacy, which I tend to run exclusively. You have the little handheld unit that they send with you. But if they ever make this again, and the price, I can get a reasonable price on it, in Lion Plus 2, Lion Plus 2, from what I understand, can run on Legacy, TMCC, and those other types. So we'll see what happens. But for now, I'm happy with this. So let's, one more spin around here. See the detailing, the front number plate, engineer figures in the back, and it's got a cable that plugs in here. We'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we're going to remove the engine, and we'll put the tender on here. Oh, so here's the tender. Has backup light, molded in detail, the coal load. The coal load is molded in. It is not real coal glued to the top. So just be aware of that. It's got a nice wide area here where the fireman stood. Probably very unhappy. Here's the old cable connection, and I believe the remake also had a cable connection from the picture. It has 2 pickup rollers. And the engine had 2 pickup rollers. I have not had any problems with electrical issues with 2. It seems to run alright, but I keep my tracks clean, and we keep the tracks clean at the train club. So that'll be it for now. And next we'll put this on the track and show you how it runs. Okay, so here's the engine running. Here's some whistle. I like the whistle. For back in 2001, 2002 era, without quilling, that was pretty good. Here's the bell. Okay, it does have 1 chuff per revolution. I like at least 2 chuffs per revolution, but this is what I have. I could have updated it with Train America, but after I got done doing all the work and installing everything and messing with the tape around the flywheel, I said, that's enough. I don't want to cut any more wires. So I might go into it one day and actually make it so I can make the chuff selectable. but right now it's hooked up to the little switch. So we're going to run this thing around, and then we'll bring it by slowly, and maybe you can see it blow smoke rings. Yes, it will blow smoke rings, but you have to be going slow. So let's get this thing going. Okay, so let's go again. I accidentally shut off the sound. So let's give it a try here. And you can hear the 1 chuff per revolution. Hear that clanking sound? That's the side rods or something in that area making that sound. So I'm going to slow it down here. And maybe you can see the smoke doing its little rings. I can just see them. Hopefully you can. I'm going to zoom in here. And when it comes around again, we'll give it another shot. Let's back it up. Can you see the smoke rings? Go forward again. And here's the brake squeal. And here's the coupler. Okay, that's about it. I will turn on the engineer on board and let it go by one more time so you can see how it operates with engineer on board. Okay. Okay, we're back. I've activated the engineer on board. One thing I should tell you about the engineer on board is it has a set acceleration speed. You can do whatever you want with the knob. Once you wind it up where it's going to go, it will accelerate at a set rate. There's nothing you can do about that. The engineer likes to accelerate slowly. So here we go. So I'm winding it up. I've wound it about a whole turn. And as you can see, it's slowly accelerating. And there it goes. Slow them down a little bit. And we'll bring them by under slow control so you can see how the engineer on board works. And you might be able to see the smoke rings now. I can see them. And he also slows down at a set rate. Let me go over what it says real quick for you.
Ready, 571, all clear ahead. Ready, 571, all clear ahead.
And that's about all it says. So we'll move it forward and we'll try it again. That is all you get. Clear ahead. So anyway, thank you for watching. And we're going to bring this thing to a stop here. There we go. It does have good slow movement with engineer on board. But any speed control, I guess, will give you that. So here's one last look at it. Okay, shutting it down. Well, thank you for joining me again. And that was the Lionel Camelback. I really like the engine. I would get another one if they ever make it where Legacy can talk to it. On our next episode, I believe we might do I don't know if you can see that, but that is the K-Line Suburban, or 466 tank engine that they put out years ago.